Today's episode is brought to you by Real Estate Radio Experts. If you want those come list me calls, gotta do radio, baby. Look, and I gotta tell you, I think with us in this show, we're creating demand for real estate radio all over the nation. So much so that I think some of you guys, literally I've had 2 calls. Some of you guys, crazy characters, are trying to do it on your own. Don't. Buying this kind of media is tough. You have to know exactly what it is. And you know what? Look, the way we get paid, the radio station pays us. Why not work with a pro? So go to realestateradioexperts.com, fill out the getting started sheet, and we'll chat. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Today's guest, let's get to that, man. Today's guest, we brought him in from Australia. He is a real estate marketing expert, specialist, and he has a podcast, Top Agents Playbook. Go check it out. Now, the thematically of what today's guest talks about is how to be different. He shares the fact that somebody woke up in your city, in my city, in San Diego. They woke up this morning and they realized that, hey, I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to list it today. I'm going to list it this weekend. But you'll never get that deal unless they know who you are. So we talk about how to break above the noise and get your brand, get your message out there. We talk about a lot of online stuff. And speaking of online, there's a few things I want to share with you at the end of this. There's a cautionary tale here. And in fact, why this episode is late, our website's crashed, man. Frustrating. So now, in order to be different, today's guest, what he did in the early days of when he was starting his career, he wrote a book. Now, that book was, how to make the most money selling your house. It became an instant hit. And so many people found out about it that other agents were coming up to him saying, hey, teach me your secrets. So all of a sudden, we started, he was spending all his time teaching people how to do it. Now, we talk about some marketing stuff. And how to be different, how to break above the noise. And he shares with us how he is using text messaging marketing. He shares that, one of his clients is doubling her business by blogging, right? That's it, by blogging, using long tail keywords. And we get into SEO and just, little, and writing copy, little tweaks like, having, he shares how one of his clients has on the contact us said, call us, we're not going to stalk you. And that little tweak has increased engagement tremendously. We also talk about how little things like, Google has made a decision that if your site is not mobile responsive, they're not going to rank you. And if they do rank you, they're going to ding you pretty hard because they know that, more than 50% of traffic is mobile. So you got to be mobile responsive. Now, one of the other things that we're doing with real estate radio experts and super agents is we are getting something called an SSL certificate for our sites. Now, I won't get into what that means, and it's not costing us a whole bunch. I think it's like $100 a year. But that SSL certificate, and we get like a little image that says that we're certified. But basically, it's a protection thing, and Google knows that. So if you are doing business, you need that SSL certificate. You're not doing e-commerce. I understand that, but you're doing business. Google feels way more comfortable if you have that SSL certificate. So that's a little something that will help your ranking. Go out and get it. Now, here's the cautionary tale, right? We all know that we have to have a website. Now, I'm not going to say any names at all, but there are some sites out there that say, hey, we do Google pay-per-click marketing. We do Facebook marketing. And you go and you pay them $1,500, $1,200, $1,800 a month, and they build you a website. And the websites they build are beautiful. The problem is that you pay them and you do your blogging, you add all this content, and one day you decide to turn it off. Now, what happens is you're going to get Google juice, Google ranking from that site. Once you turn it off, even if you launch again under the same name, tobysalgado.com, that ranking goes away. I just realized this a few days ago with working with one of our other School of Profit clients. So be careful out there, guys. If you all need a website, just go pay a developer, find a developer, and build one. Don't pay those other guys to build one for you, because if they hold that site hostage and don't give that to you, which they won't, at least as far as I know, you're going to lose all the Google ranking that you spent years and years to build. So that's, by the way, that's something we talked about on our first call at School of Profit, our new coaching product where you can hop on the call with me, with my guest, ask them questions, and it starts at $99 a month. Go check it out. Go to schoolofprofit.com, although it's down right now. We're working on it. All right, hey, let's get to this fantastic episode. Today on the show, I'm thrilled to bring today's guest on. Now, today's guest doesn't sell real estate, but what he is, he's a real estate marketing specialist. And what really attracted me to today's guest is that he's doing something that I always encourage you guys to do. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is. We'll let him get to it. And we're going to get into his story. So I'm thrilled to welcome Ray Wood. Hey, Ray, thanks for taking the time out.
Oh, you're welcome, Toby. Thanks for having me on the show.
So I'm excited to get to some of your ideas around marketing for agents. But before we get there, I know you kind of have an interesting backstory. So let's hear it, man. Let's tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, for sure. Well, long story short, rewind to 1990. My brother David and I started a business in Melbourne, Australia, and we quit our jobs and we started our own company called Wood Brothers. And 1990 came around and it hit us in the back of the head pretty solidly. And it was a very, very tough time. 91, 92, we were basically out of money. We just started our real estate agency. There were other agencies closing around us. People were getting out of real estate and going back to their jobs as being teachers or whatever. We were essentially out of money. So we had to come up with a pretty solid idea that would help us get more listings and make more sales, which is obviously the lifeblood of any good real estate agent. So we'd been door knocking, Toby. We'd been cold calling. We'd been doing all of the things that we'd kind of had to resort to in the past to get business, but nothing was working. And when you have a very tough recession like this, not only does the price of real estate drop, the volume of real estate drops as well. So it was like there was sort of 20 or 30% the amount of properties on the market as usual. So it was very, very challenging. So anyway, I came up with this idea as a lead generator. I studied some great marketers like David Ogilvy and John Caples and these guys who are, the doyens of solid marketing. And I followed some of their principles, and I came up with the idea of writing this. It ended up being a book, but it was like a flyer called How to Sell Your Home for More. One of the skill sets that I had was I was able to work with sellers and show them how they could influence the selling price of their property by presentation, good marketing, great photography. So this is 1990, well before the days of the internet were coming along. And so I developed this kind of formula for showing sellers how they could quite easily influence the selling price of their property. One of the key factors in that was having a great realtor, of course. So, and it was a marketing push and a marketing concept from my point of view. So I did this. I wrote some direct mail letters. I wrote some flyers. I did postcards, general things, and started getting them out in my neighbourhood, and nothing happened. And I was heartbroken, and we were out of money, and I tried a few other things and nothing worked. And then I went back to basics and did some tweaking. And at long last, the phone started to ring. So that gave me a little bit of confidence. I actually, fast forward a few years up to 94, 95, I wrote the book, How to Sell Your Home for More. And I started using an actual book. And now today we use a book and an ebook. But I call it Give to Get Marketing. So where most real estate agents are approaching people and saying, hey, I'll give you a free valuation, and hey, here's me, I'm top 1%, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
I don't really think that has much cut through in all the white noise that's out there today. There are more real estate agents than ever. And I found the more different I could be, the easier it was to get noticed. And you know, like I said, long story short, the book sold over 200,000 copies now. It's on Amazon.com for $30, but it's free from a Best Agents member. So what I did was I created this company called Best Agents because other agents started approaching me and saying, hey, Ray, I really like your ideas. I love the concept of the book. I love give to get marketing. I really want a unique selling proposition in my business. How do I do it? How do I get hold of the letters? How do I get hold of the books, bulk quantities of the books at discount, etc.? So that's kind of my story, and that's how it's evolved to the point where the business is today.
So you know, I want to get into that, but you touched on something very important, right? If I go back to 91, 92, whatever, you said that you were in a recession, and in that kind of an environment, prices drop and volume drops, right? There's no inventory. Yep. And here's the funny thing, Ray, is we are here in America, we are in a very, very hot market here, and there's no inventory, man. Rates are low, but people are struggling because there's zero inventory. So again, it's almost like you're facing the same situation, whether it's a hot market or a very, very, or you're in a recession.
Yeah. One of the things, Toby, that really had a huge effect on me is that when this started happening, and I'd been very successful in real estate right up until the time that we started our business, and once things kicked along, we had more success with the book and our other marketing ideas than we ever dreamed of. But one of the things that really hit me hard was I never wanted to be that vulnerable again. I never wanted to be, doing this good month, bad month kind of thing that the majority of agents seem to go through. I never wanted to have my pipeline empty. I always wanted there to be plenty of listings. And the thing that happened when I started using these marketing ideas is that I started building more and more relationships. Now, you're in San Diego, so if you're a realtor in San Diego, somebody woke up this morning and decided to sell. Now, if they didn't call Toby Salgado, it can only be because, if you're a realtor in San Diego, it can only be because they don't know you and there's no relationship there. So I found the more relationships that I could start and maintain, the more warm contacts I could prospect, the more listing or appraisal, what am I trying to say, opinions
CMA.
Of value, that I could do. We call them appraisals in Australia. And then the more listing presentations I could make, the more listings I'd get, and the more sales I'd make. And it's a very simple formula, and it's one followed by top agents today.
Absolutely, and I want to find out from your perspective, Ray, how you do that. Because look, here's what I was trying to say earlier, right? So again, recession, hot market. Now, in a recession. And this is what happened to you, right? So you said that the more ways I found that I could be different, the more traction you would get. So in a recession, you can really prove to that seller that, hey, I have a unique skill set. I can market your house. I can not only sell it, I can get you more money. Okay, you can do that in a down market. Now, the problem in a hot market like we are seeing here in America is that from Denver to DC, everybody feels like you put your house on the market and two things are going to happen. Day one or week one, depending on the market, you're going to get multiple offers and at and over the asking price. Now, again, I want to know this from your perspective. Here's what happens, or at least what I'm seeing. And again, as you know, we have this radio advertising arm. I don't know if you know that. Maybe you do.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So I'm seeing my people who are spending a lot of money on the radio. In some markets, it's not working. And here's why my theory on that, Ray, is that in that, again, hot market, multiple over the asking price environment, that I'm going to sell my house. It doesn't matter who lists it. I don't need a great agent because the market's just that hot. So guess what? I'm not going to hire Ray Wood. I'm not going to hire Toby Salgado. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give my listing to my niece who just got her license, right? Everything's going to. So number one, what's your opinion on that? And two, how does somebody combat that?
Well, I think if there's a relationship in place and it's reinforced and nurtured, I mean, a garden needs to be watered and weeded, right? It's the same with relationships. We need to most real estate agents I know, Toby, the majority, 80%, wake up in the morning and look for a listing. There's little or no, many of them don't even use a database, amazingly.
Yeah.
And the ones, some people tell me that they have Outlook and that's their database. There's so much great technology out there at the moment that people can use to keep in touch. And a lot of the old methods are not working. You know, if we do a batch email to 1,000 contacts, less than 20% are going to see it. So it's 1 in 5. Whereby what the best agents are doing at the moment is, for example, using text messaging, things like that. I mean, who doesn't see an SMS, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cutting through. I was speaking with, and she would be a fantastic interview for your show, a lady called Melanie Pache from Toronto. She's getting 1,200 inquiries to her website every day, and she is really engaging her market. And I've been working with Mel, and she's doing some terrific work. Check out her website, and can I mention it now on the show?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's a really interesting example. The website is getwhatyouwant.ca, and Mel writes a regular blog, but the how do I describe it? The personality that you pick up from her website and from her blog is what's delivered the whole way along. So she's really taken the whole idea of the relationship of starting, building and nurturing the relationship to a whole new level. And their business, you know, and Toronto is the same market that you're talking about. There's less inventory and things are selling so quickly. But their business has doubled each year for the last 3 years, and I think it's a terrific success story, and it's a red hot example of how a competent real estate agent in this market who knows how to tap into social media, who knows how to really connect with their potential clients and build these relationships. It's a great example as to how that is working so well.
So you have, in order to, going back to your illustration earlier, right? Your garden, you have to nurture it, you have to water it, you have to pull the weeds. So that's great, but you have to plant the seeds first, right? And so going back to what you said, right? It's all about getting warm. What did you say here? Warm relationships, right? If you can develop some kind of connection, then you can water that relationship, right? You can develop it, and that's what in your illustration, Melanie's doing. She's doing a great job on her blog. How in the world is she driving 1,200 uniques every day to a stinking realtor website? That's amazing. How is she doing that?
Well, I'm just about to launch the interview that I did with Mel on my podcast, topagentsplaybook.com, but I think you should contact her as well, and she'll tell you. One of the things that she did in the early days, and she tells the story, she gave some guy $600 to get who told her he would get her on the front page of Google. Now, he didn't. So she started going to Inman conferences and learning about how she can really get some great SEO going. And she learned that writing a regular blog is going to help with search engine optimization and really tapping into these keywords. So, you know, buying in Toronto, selling in Toronto, and then going through all the various keywords and key phrases. She did that. Here's the other kicker. This is pretty cool. She when she does a Facebook or a Google AdWords campaign, in addition to that, she can get up to 2,000 inquiries every day. So she has really mastered lead generation, and she's built a team around her to handle the inquiry. She did one really cool thing on her website as well. And if you go to getwhatyouwant.ca, you'll see it. And she did a tweak. And I forget exactly, but I think she told me it almost doubled inquiry for her in the space of a month. She added up in the top right-hand corner, feel free to call us, we won't stalk you, right? Just a silly little thing like that. And that just that little tweak doubled her inquiry. So she is really working very hard to position her brand, which is the Brel team, B-R-E-L, her and her husband, Brendan. But she is working really hard, and it's just top of mind at the moment because I just did this interview with her, but she's working really hard to position her business completely away from being the typical real estate agent. You won't find any marketing around them saying top 1%, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. It's a totally different approach. And what she succeeded in doing with that approach is really connecting with people. Here's something else that she's doing. Because we live in this, we're on this wild ride called the digital age, right? People want stuff instantly. So she set up that if somebody emails or messages or contacts her or hits her up on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is, she set up that she can get back to them really, really quickly. Not every time, but really, really quickly. My wife and I recently bought a property and we're selling a property. And the lag time between when we make the inquiry and when we actually get a response is just ridiculous. And we're talking some big fees. We're talking 4 or 5% overall. So I just, for the life of me, can't work out why people haven't embraced some of this technology and some of these opportunities a lot faster. And I think that that's why so many agents are struggling, because they can see it, but they fight it. Do you know what happened on the 21st of April? Google made a decision that if your website is not mobile friendly, in other words, if it's difficult to navigate on a mobile, you know, when you've got those websites and you're pinching and you're trying to get it apart and then it crashes and you're trying to enter some data in, you're trying to get the keyboard to come up. Google said, enough, we're not doing that anymore. So if your website is not mobile friendly, they're not even going to rank it. So
yeah, they ding you pretty hard. I mean, they'll still rank it, but it's just they ding you. They give heavy preference to mobile friendly sites.
Absolutely, and so they should. The majority of real estate sites, of real estate agents or realtor sites that I've seen, are not mobile friendly. And our market are buyers and sellers out there, and they're mobile increasingly. So I'd say at least half of their traffic is mobile. And they're losing it. They're kissing it away a lot of the time because their sites aren't mobile friendly. So I guess what I'm saying is that there's this whole shift going on that people are really missing out on. And you know, this is not a project that you can do in the next 18 months. This is something that you need to action this week.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'll take it one step further. I mean, you can build a mobile responsive website. That's one thing. But the best thing you can do, like I have, Super Agents Live, and then I have my personal branding site, TobySalgado.com. And then I have some, realestateradioexperts.com. All those sites, I built a completely separate website for the mobile experience, like a whole different set of the same developers, a whole different project. You know, it's not like that's different from just being mobile responsive, right?
Yes. Well, you've taken it a step further, which is awesome, and you know, all power to you. I mean, your listeners to Super Agents Live, they should be taking a leaf out of your book and doing exactly the same thing, because seriously, it's just such an important part of marketing. And you know what? The tech savvy consumers and real estate consumers in the market are looking for a tech savvy agent.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, here's the deal. So what you said earlier, Ray, and you gave me a great segue a minute ago to jump into your stuff, and I'll use it in a second. But so here's the deal. You said, for the life of me, I can't figure out why people are not embracing this. Now, some people are, but at the end of the day, right, NAR puts out stats, and I commonly refer to them on the show, but, you know, the average agent in America is a 57-year-old woman. Now, I just talked, here's the funny thing. I just talked to a 57-year-old woman yesterday on the phone, and dude, she was slow, man. She was like, I said, let's go look up this site. And she's like, oh, how do you, and it was like, I said, look up Chris Smith. She's like, how do you spell that? I'm like, Chris Smith. You know, and then we got to talking. She's like, I don't know how to work anything. I don't know how to work. I said, oh man, you need some help. So that's why people are embracing it. But so here's the segue into your stuff, Ray, and we'll bounce back and forth. If I look at what Melanie's doing, she's she's putting her personality out there. The tagline for her site is "No BS, no fridge madness, no broken promises." And then on her site, this is why her site's ranking so well for a Google search is, I'm looking at this first post here. Loft Junkie, us too. We've reviewed 99 of our favorite Toronto lofts. What a great post. I want to see that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And not only that, so what she can do with that content is she can now, that's great content to then migrate to Facebook, and I'm sure she has photos. I haven't opened it up, but that's great content then for Instagram. So she's got this unique funnel here where she can write one post and use it in multiplicity, right, in multiple different ways. Now, here's what I'm not seeing on her site. Now this is the point where we get to your stuff, Ray. And Best Agents, your other site, I'll let you talk about that, is one thing that I suggest people do is, all the traffic for Melanie, she's earning traffic, right? All traffic you either earn or you buy. Now, if you buy it or earn it, you want to try to monetize it, right? You want to get their phone number. You want to get their email. Now, what I suggest to people, if you go to Super Agents, and I'm going to let you take off here in a second, Ray, but if you go to Super Agents Live, what you'll see is I wrote an ebook. You give me your email address so I can get you on my list and I can communicate to you. I'll give you a book for free. Just give me your email address. So I encourage people to write an ebook. Just like you wrote, Ray. How to get? What was the? Hold on, I wrote it down. How to get more? What's the title of your book?
My book is the lead generating book is How to Sell Your Home for More.
That's right. How to Sell Your Home for More. So I suggest people write it, put that on the top of your site, even use a light box or pop-up box and say, hey, listen, if you're selling your house, I'll give you this book for free. So then you drive traffic, you get their email address. Now you can put them in your database and market to them. So that's a long way to get into. That's kind of what you're doing with your other site, Best Agents. So again, this is not a pitch. So just lob it in there lightly. But tell us how you help agents utilize some of this marketing for this digital age.
Okay, Best Agents is a personal marketing system. So what I'm really interested in is working with our members to help them promote their personal brand. I don't believe, Toby, that and this is just me, and maybe I'm wrong. I'd be interested in your view on this, but I don't think people say, I'm going to hire a Remax agent, I'm going to hire a Keller Williams agent. They're really, or a Century 21 agent. I believe that they will focus more greatly on the individual. And I mean, it's the individual at the kitchen table that comes and makes a pitch to them to list with them or sign up an offer or sign up a buyer or whatever it might be. So I'm really interested in promoting the personal brand. And you can see with getwhatyouwant.ca how Mel Pichet has done exactly that. So at Best Agents, what we look at is how do we, from a cold start without door knocking or cold calling, because I hate that. I once got chased by a dog. That's another story. And that just destroyed it forever for me. I ruined a new suit. But one of the things that I believe people should focus on is the opportunities to create these new relationships. And how we do that at Best Agents is Give to Get marketing. We offer a copy of the book. We have online profiles, for example. I've even ghostwritten a book so individual members can be their own author. It's called The Ultimate Home Seller's Guide. So it's really a matter of positioning yourself to be totally different than everybody else out there, because it's a lot easier to get noticed when you do that. We've set up a website for members called printreadyads.com. So if people go to printreadyads.com, they can check a full gallery. So you can enter all of your information in there and you can tailor dozens of different proven marketing pieces that you can use in your area as generic letter drops or even as customized direct mail pieces. I've created a product called Direct Mail Power where I've followed these great basic direct mail principles that's set out by my hero, David Ogilvy, who created so many of these awesome direct mail letters that really sell. And I was talking before about the failure of email and how hard it is to connect with people. The direct mail letter is back and it's bigger and badder than ever. And if it's properly done, and I'm talking no logos, and I really have to arm wrestle some of our members to stop using logos, because when you get an envelope with a logo on it, you've kind of just given the game away. If it's blank And here's another thing. If it's actually handwritten, guess what? It's going to get opened. So there's some really creative ways that we use to help members attract more potential sellers.
Okay, so on that, sorry, there's a lot there to dig into. With that, you said the direct mail letter is badder and bolder than ever.
Yep.
In this Twitter world, 140 characters, the thinking today is that everything that you do needs to be bite-sized. Whereas, David Ogilvy, Abraham, or Kennedy, those guys are very long form.
Yeah.
They think it should be long form. What's your take on that? Long form or very short form?
Long copy sells if you can engage your reader. If you're interested in going to Spain at the moment, right, you're going to be researching that. So you're more likely to spend more time thinking about going to Spain. If you're a woman and you're pregnant and having a baby, guess what? You're going to be researching everything to do with having a baby. You're going to want to learn about that. And we live in a day and an age where we can do all of that. If you're thinking about selling a property and you want to add value to your property and you want it to be a great experience, you've got the opportunity to research that pretty thoroughly now. And the good thing about like long copy, I mean, it's from a cold start, it's hard to connect with people with long copy. And I mean, even some of the websites that you and I, know about, the so-called squeeze pages, etc., they used to have long cascading style sheets of copy. And you just fast forward to the bottom to see how much it was, the product or whatever. I'm sure you've done that. I know I have many times. But a good letter doesn't need to be long, but it can still engage. And there are some critical points to a direct mail letter that will help people connect. But most people, and let's talk about realtors. Most realtors get it wrong because they ignore the rules that are, as old as time.
Okay, so when you think about, you have you've met somebody, right? You have a contact. It's a warm relationship. You want to water that. I would imagine sending, just like you said a minute ago, a handwritten short form piece, developing that relationship is the right thing to do. And then of course, if you have the deeper your relationship goes, then maybe it can then go longer and longer and longer. And by the way, I don't get anything for this, but people will say with handwritten letters, I have terrible handwriting, whatever. There's a company called Hello Bond. Do you know Hello Bond?
No.
Hello Bond. Well, you can hop on your PC, on your phone, write a letter, upload it to Hello Bond, and they have these machines that will write beautiful. It's handwritten, but in ink, but it's done for you.
Oh, that's cool.
It's phenomenal. It's like $3 a letter, but it's worth it.
I'm looking it up as we're speaking. It sounds a little bit to me like send out cards as well. The technology's there you can create your own handwriting and feed it in as a font. But that's certainly. I was talking more, Toby, about a handwritten address on an envelope, not the whole letter, because we want to get the letter opened. Once it's opened, then you've got the opportunity to engage people. But up until that point, it's a challenge.
Yeah. And
if you send something like that, again, it's different. If it's in a window face, it might be a bill. It could be a summons. Who knows what it is? But if you send something that's handwritten, it could be an invitation to a party, a wedding. It could be anything. So, and it really kind of sets the tone for the letter. And if the letter's properly done, and it's in a serif font, and it's the right size, and also the font needs to be bigger, at least 12 point, if not bigger, because you don't want people reaching for their glasses. You want them to be able to read it straight away.
Yep. Okay. What is no logo? You suggest that I think I know why, but maybe tell everybody why no logo.
Yeah. Okay. I believe the logo is a disconnect. I think there's plenty of opportunity. I mean, as real estate agents, we're all in love with our logo, right? And it's just the way it is. And the larger companies say use the logo, build the brand, build the brand, build the brand. That's cool. I'm okay with that. But there's a time and a place to do that. The time to do it is when you've got the listing and you're putting your sign on the front lawn or however you're going to market it on your internet site, if you're on Zillow or wherever you're going in your own site. That's a time where you can market your logo till the cows come home. Let's talk about getting the initial inquiry. Let's make it simple. People's eyes will automatically go to images before they go to copy, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we're processing so much of this information in milliseconds. So every image is a distraction. And that's where I believe that the logo is a disconnect. For example, when we market the book, How to Sell Your Home for More, what we use, and the front of the book is designed really, really sharp and bright and colourful. It's red and yellow like a cereal packet on a supermarket shelf. So you could spot it from 200 yards. You know what it is, and it's nice and bright. But we include an image of that when we market, which is a really powerful thing because people can actually see what they're going to get. I believe that the company logo, when you start marketing, is a massive disconnect, and it's not essential to the message. What you're really wanting, what do we want people to do? We want them to pick up the phone and call us and say, "Hey, I'd like to get a copy of that book. How do I do it?" Now, if you're in an area where you must use your logo, okay, that's a different thing. I don't want to even get involved in that in the different states and boards and countries, etc.
Sure.
But as far as pure effective marketing goes, I'm a no logo fan.
Got it. So let me tell you something. As I look through your site, Best Agents, how you are being different here, how you, Ray, would have, you've developed something different is if I look at all the trainers, right? Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, all those guys, they will sell you or give you when you sign up for them. They'll give you scripts, right? People go, I don't know what to say. So they'll give you scripts. Now, what you seem to be doing, Ray, is, when people are talking, in terms of a mailing or an email or whatever, people go, I don't know what to say. It seems like you have this package where you direct mail power audio series. Do you just deliver? Like, what do they get? I mean, is it literally like a marketing in a box?
Yeah. What we have is a members lounge that they access. Members access everything online. They're able to get it. We actually send them 20 copies of How to Sell Your Home for More. They can get as many books as they want, basically at cost. So they do get the hard copies of the book. If they want to get their own book printed, we can do that as well. The other thing that we do, Toby, is we give geographic exclusivity. So I've always had the belief there's no point pouring blood, sweat and tears and money into a huge marketing campaign where the guy down the road's doing exactly the same thing. Remember, I was talking about a unique selling proposition and having a point of difference. So you need to have that geographic exclusivity. So all members have their specific patch, which is normally down to a series of a zip code, one or more, and that's the way that we let them use their exclusivity. So yes, they can access all of the scripts and letters and everything that we have in the back end, but it's essentially about and lead generation websites and that kind of thing. But it's essentially about looking at how they can market their personal brand and setting them up in such a way that there's a system to what they're doing and they're focusing on the productive things that are going to make them money.
Got it. So that's pretty to the private white label book. So you guys wrote a book. I can go, hey Ray, slap my face and name on the book. I take it to the listing presentation. I go, hey, look here. I'm a published author. Here's my book.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to realestateauthors.net, you'll see, and this is the Australian site, but you'll see how we've set the book up, the Ultimate Home Seller's Guide, and I've put a little video explainer in there and showing people how it works. So a few times each year we do a bulk printing of this, and we show people how they can put it together. We include different things with it. They can get a bulk order. There's an electronic or a flip book, an ebook, that's included with it. I do a press kit. They get the graphics. So they've got this ready-made personal branding concept that they can use exclusively in their own territory.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of like what you can do is you can buy. Getting on TV is not that expensive, and you can buy spots on CNBC, name the network at 3 a.m, and then you can literally have on your site legitimately go, hey, as featured on NBC, ABC, Fox.
Yes. Yeah. What a top idea.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Look. You have all these sites. You are truly this marketing guy. How did you learn this stuff? Are you just a professional marketer? Is that what you've always done?
Yeah, I get out of bed in the morning and I start thinking about how I can help members get more listings and make more contacts. I start thinking about how I can make them stand out in their market. And a lot of real estate people, Toby, are very timid and don't want to get out of their shell. And I understand that, but those guys are probably not my market. The people that we work with are pretty successful. Many of the agents that we work with are doing $40,000 or $50,000 in commission each month, which is exciting, and they start to get some momentum, and you can start to really drive some traffic into your business and build your brand when you do these things. But I mean, it was that deep-seated. I nearly said fear, but I guess it was a fear. Back in 1990, in the early 90s, when things got tight, I never wanted to be that vulnerable again. And I know a lot of people, and we'll have tough times again. Who knows how far away things are? But I believe if you're set up properly, you can ride out any storm if you follow the rules.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's everybody's goal, is to build a business that will work in any kind of environment. Let me ask you this. So you again, I think are a little bit unique in the sense that you are bridging the gap. You're doing online stuff and offline stuff, right? Most people are focused on one side or the other, right? I'm all offline, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, or I'm all online. I'll show you how to do Facebook marketing.
Yeah.
Where do you think, in the market environment that we're in right now, in terms of developing a skill set or a marketing channel, where do you think the low-hanging fruit is for someone to focus on?
I'd probably answer that in another way along the theme as to what we're talking about. And I'd be saying, how does your digital twin look in the mirror? And when I say digital twin, I'm talking about the and a mate of mine, Peter Brewer, came up with that terminology, and it's really powerful because there's kind of two of us nowadays, as opposed to 1994. Fast forward to now, our offline marketing is normally pretty good. It's pretty sharp. Our signs are good. Our newspaper ads or magazine ads are good. Our business cards look nice. But now we've got this whole other side to our professional personality, and it's our digital twin. So how is what kind of comments are we posting on Facebook? How are we reaching out? Are we building a community? Are we building a following? What are we doing on Instagram? Are we using Twitter? A lot of great agents don't even worry about it. I'm not saying everybody has to. But how's your website looking? What's the lag time between when somebody makes a quick comment and says, hey, I'm thinking of selling, can you call me? How long does that take? Is somebody monitoring that? What's your mobile presence like? How we were talking about before. So I think it's important that your digital twin needs to look like your analog twin, your offline twin, and then people have the full package then, and they're probably better informed to make a good real estate decision. I believe people, Toby, are looking for three things when they go to sell, and I like to focus on sellers because I know so many agents focus on buyers, but hey, if you've got the listings, you're going to have as many buyers as you want. You have people beating a path to your door if you can control the listings in your area or if you can move to that.
Yeah.
I think people are looking for three things, right? These are sellers. This is getting into the mind of a seller. Number one, I think they're looking for a top market price. They want to get better than the guy around the corner. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's pretty obvious. Number two, they don't want to be on the market forever. Okay, they want to be selling in a reasonable amount of time. And like you said, things are going pretty quickly now, so that's probably not so much of an issue. And the third thing that they're looking for, I believe, is a good real estate experience. And that's probably the most valuable in our profession because that's the thing that people talk about. That's where you get these golden referrals and you can build such a great following when you've got good referrals coming in and when you're providing a really good real estate experience. And I'm talking about, following up. And you asked me, okay, where's the low-hanging fruit? I think the low-hanging fruit is going back and connecting with everybody that you've ever bought or sold to. If you're not new to real estate, you're going to have some history. I think the best thing that you could do is go back and connect with them. Get them on the phone. Don't chicken out and just send them an email. Call them up and say, hey, it's Ray. I'm feeling a little guilty. I haven't been in touch. How you doing? I was thinking about you. Just a simple thing like that is a way to connect. But people spend so much time, money and effort looking under rocks for listing leads when they're turning their backs on the people who know them and love them.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the low-hanging fruit. That would be my answer.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I would agree with that. So I think a couple things, Ray. People are listening to you and they're going, geez, man, that's a lot of work. I don't know where to start, right? And, do I really need to be on, does my digital twin need to be on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook? I don't have that much bandwidth. So I don't know how you'd address that. But I want to ask you this. Along the lines of what you just said, right? Your past clients, your sphere of influence, right? They're deals in your network.
Yep,
so,
for sure.
Do you recommend people one, segment their database, right? That can be by past clients or sphere. That can also be by segmenting them as boomers, Gen Xers to millennials. And the reason why I would say segment your database by that is because, being a great marketer is speaking to that person the way they want to be spoke to, right?
Yep.
You're going to speak to sellers one way. So you can create a marketing message, but you shouldn't blast it off to everybody. Boomers, look, they don't want to get an email. They want to get a phone call. Millennials, look, man, just text me. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think you've got to be very careful about generically blasting your list. If you've got somebody who's sub 30 as opposed to somebody in their 60s, they're listening to a totally different language and you'll alienate one or the other or both. You have to be really careful. I think, yes, I believe lists should be CRMs or real estate software or whatever you want to call it. I believe the more, to a point, segregated they are and divided up into buyers and sellers so you can do your price matching and all of that. The better you know the individual client on there, then the more success I believe you're going to enjoy. If you haven't spoken to somebody for 6 months and she's a contact and you call her up and you say, hi, Jenny, it's Ray Wood calling. Just wanted to reach out and tell you that there's a property coming up in the area. Didn't know whether you see it or not. You want to have your notes from the last time you discussed. Her mum might have gone into nursing care. One of their children might have scored a scholarship to a college or something like that.
Yeah.
And that, Toby, I really believe that's the secret sauce in all of this. That's the personal connection. And you said something before that made me think hard about what's the one thing that you can do. I would take a leaf out of Mel Pichet's book. And if you don't have a good one already, I would set up a personal website. And I'm not saying this because we don't even make them, right? I would use getwhatyouwant.ca as a great example. I would set up a website and I would start blogging and just start to learn more about it. I don't care whether you're 25 or 75. It doesn't really matter. Age is a state of mind and it's all happening between your ears. If your attitude is, hey, I'm a dinosaur, I'm never going to do it, then you're never going to do it. But I know that there's plenty of people in their 60s and 70s. Boy, my aunt is in her 90s. She took herself to the library and she ordered a computer online and she's taught herself how to do that. Now, okay, she's not about to build a website in WordPress, but at least she can get onto Facebook and check stuff out. And I just think that this, technology is so successful and companies like Apple and Google have enjoyed so much success because they've made technology so much easier for us to use. I mean, goodness, how much easier does it have to get? And like I said before, your market out there is tech savvy and they're looking for a tech savvy agent. If you're not that agent, they'll quickly find one who is.
Yep. No, I agree. And everything these days is kind of done for you, right? Leadpages.net. You don't need to worry about building a landing page, squeeze page. It's built for you, right? Everything is
there.
even WordPress, right? Forget HTML. It's all right there. So speaking of that, and again, you are, I'm 45, so you indicated that you're a little bit older than me.
I'm 55. I was 55 last week.
Wow. Good for you, man. How are you so tech savvy? And you can answer that. And this is terrible as an interview. I shouldn't ask you two questions, but I'm gonna.
It's actually a really good question, and I'll tell you.
Okay, go. And then I have another question for you after that.
Okay. In 1985, I went on a fantastic, life-changing trip to Europe, and met a girl and fell in love. And she was from Mississauga, which is a suburb of Toronto. And we got married. We lived in Melbourne for 20 years, and we had 3 children. And after about 20 years of marriage, I'm bearing my soul here, we agreed to separate, and she wanted to come back to Canada. And I said, well, boy, that's cool. And she wanted to take our children as well. And I said, okay, that's great, but how long are you going to be? She said, well, probably only a couple of years. So I said, okay, a couple of years, I can live with that. We didn't sign anything. Anyway, after 3 years, she still hadn't come back to Melbourne. After 4 years, she still hadn't come back, and I realised that she probably wasn't going to. So I made the decision then and there, Toby, and we're going back to 2007, 2008. I made the decision to move here full time. I had no job in Canada. In fact, I wasn't allowed to earn an income in Canada. The best I could get was a visitor's visa. I had no health cover. I couldn't get a mortgage. So at the age of, late 40s, I was completely starting again. But I did have my business in Australia, which is Best Agents. So I thought, boy, I can transplant that here. A lot of this material and things that I'm doing are perfectly applicable to the North American market. So what I had to do in answer to your question, I really had to, if I wanted to be with my children, I really had to learn as much as I could about technology. And I'm so glad that I did, because it was such an important thing. And, goodness, there's still a heap of stuff I don't know, but I'll take the time to find out. And it's funny with technology, and I'd say this to anybody who's listening who's a little bit scared of it. Once you learn a little bit and you learn to do something and you can overcome and you can troubleshoot a problem yourself, you start to learn more and more about it, and it gets better, and your confidence builds. A wonderful thing happens. Your confidence starts to build. And there's so many people out there that you can reach out to who will help you. So that's been a big part of my journey, I guess, is just, reconnecting with my kids. And I've got a great relationship with my kids and with my ex-wife, I should mention. I've also remarried, which is great, to Christine. That's a completely new story. But I really had to get in and understand this technology to make it work. And my day, a lot of the time, we've got 400 members now, over 400 members throughout Australia and New Zealand. So 6 p.m. Toronto time is about 8 a.m. in Melbourne and Sydney the next day. So my day kind of starts all over again. But I love it. It's what I do. And, it keeps me young.
No, that's great. And look, and for if anybody's daunted by that, and this is for the audience. I mean, there are places like Udemy, right? And you can literally buy a course on how to create a website in 10 days.
Yeah.
For $10, for $30, it's all out there, and it's and you can learn at your own pace. So okay, you learned, you're self-taught. You had to learn how to make a living. You had to, you could do it online. What are the top 5 tools that you use every day, every week, every month?
I use Basecamp every day. I taught myself because I hated paying graphic design. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love graphic designers. They're very, very clever. But I didn't have the money in the early days to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on graphic art. So I use Adobe Illustrator all the time. I've just started using Evernote, which is interesting, and I'm learning sort of quite a lot from that. What else do I use online? I'm a big Facebook guy. I love putting myself out there on Facebook. And if anybody wants to connect with me on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/bestagents, BESTAGENTS. And I use I'm a big fan, obviously, with my podcast, topagentsplaybook.com. I'm a big Skype user. I record all my interviews on Skype, and then I put them up through GarageBand to mix them up and produce them.
Got it. So you're a Mac guy. Okay, well, let's talk about podcasts for a second, right? So at the years and years ago, when blogs just came out, right? If you were early to blogging, people made millions of dollars with a blog.
Yes.
Now it's very hard, and you suggested people write a blog, and that's it's really hard to get noticed. You have to do it for a very long. That's an 18-month thing. You're not. Nobody's going to do that, and in 3 months start to see results. What do you think? Podcasts, I think, I started mine a year and a half ago, and I think I was on the late side of early. I think now everybody's got a podcast. What do you think about an agent out there, realtor, creating a hyper-local podcast?
I don't know specifically. As you and I know, it's a massive input of time. There is a lot involved, and I will say, just rewinding one sec, one of the things that inspired me to do topagentsplaybook.com was listening to Super Agents Live, and I listened to so many of your podcasts, and I think they're fantastic. I think you've got terrific energy, and I really like the way that you convey the information. One of the great things about podcasts is that we are so time poor, and I feel like if I'm in my car, I love music and I play guitar and sing and I'm mad about that, but I won't sit in my car for hours and listening to music. I love listening to stories, I love Radio Labs. I love the podcast. I love Note to Self, the podcast. Terry O'Reilly, Under the Influence, that sort of thing, and Super Agents Live. And listening to that as well. So I like to listen to the content that I like to listen to. I don't like to be told what to listen to. So I think that if there's an opportunity for somebody to sit down and create a broadcast, and, I don't know how long it took you to learn to do it. It took me a few months, and then I went out and I made the decision to buy it.
No, it took me 3 months to figure, because I'm on PC. It took me 3 months to figure out what, the editing software, which I use Adobe, what the heck is it? Audition.
Audition, yeah.
So, learning how to use Audition, figuring out the right mixer, it took me 3 months before I could even, start recording. So, it does take a while.
It's certainly going to help with your search engine optimization. If you've got a great local podcast that's out there in your market, I don't know. I really hadn't thought about that before. You could keep it really local and really interesting. One of the things that one of the questions I get quite a lot, Toby, is how do I build more followers on my Facebook page? And I spoke to a guy recently who did something. He's in Adelaide in South Australia, but and this is a cool thing, nothing to do with podcasts. We can come back to it, but I'll mention it while I think of it. He came up with this idea. He created a community page. I think it's called We Love the Adelaide Hills. Adelaide, as in the city in South Australia. We Love the Adelaide Hills. And he said to a few of the professional photographers in town, hey, we're getting this community Facebook page going. Can you send us a couple of great photos each week, and we'll feature them and we'll promote you and say they're from you. So, Facebook is largely a photo sharing facility, right? That's one of the big features about it. That's why it works.
And it's moving to video.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's got all of these, these professional photo houses sending him these great images, and then people are sharing them. He's got, and this is in a town of like 10,000 people, I think, in South Australia, in the Adelaide Hills. In anybody who knows it, it's near the wine growing area called the Barossa Valley, a beautiful part of the world. And anyway, he developed this. He's got like 3,600 followers in less than a year in this very small environment. So maybe if we took that philosophy and applied it to somebody local in their area promoting their community, maybe they could talk to local business owners, to the mayor. Hey, any mayor would love to be broadcast on a podcast. And guess what happens? If you interviewed the mayor in your local town, they're going to share, and it's a good interview, and of course it would be, they're going to share it with their friends as well. So something like that can really spread the word about what you're doing. And it's interesting. that's probably the audio or podcast version of give to get marketing, isn't it? Instead of saying, hey, list with me, I'm the 1%, I'm the biggest, I've got the most beautiful logo, blah, blah, blah. I'm really connected with my community. I'm giving back. I'm featuring these business owners. I'm featuring, local personalities in the area, people who've achieved awesome things. Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it before, but cool idea.
Yeah, for sure. And I, here's the thing that for me, having a podcast is I get access to people, which is crazy. I mean, I get access to people with a one-on-one. I spend an hour with them that people just don't get access to, right?
Yep.
People pay Tom Ferry a ton of money. I'm friends with Tom Ferry because I brought him on the show. I spent an hour with him. I picked his brain. I can name all sorts of people. So I think, if somebody did a hyperlocal podcast, right, you'll have access to the mayor. You'll have access to the chief of police. You'll have access to, the top fireman guy, whatever that's called.
Yeah, the fire chief.
The fire chief.
Yeah.
And I think if you could, you bring those people on, you talk about relevant events, look, you could even bring on some some doctor at the local hospital to talk about, the dangers of backyard swimming pools. It's summer now, everybody's swimming. Let's talk about, lifeguard safety. I don't know. And then obviously repurpose that content for your blog, repurpose that content for, your Facebook page. There's tons of stuff you can do. And now I'm getting all the ADD on you, but you could, how you could start to
I think you like this idea.
Well, I've been telling people to do it, and just nobody's. Literally, one guy in Florida, I'm teaching him how to do it. Nobody's taking me up on this. But what you could also do to add value to your audience and get people to listen, right? And again, get a following on Facebook and cross pollinate your listeners and your readers.
Yes.
Is each week. Right, bring on a local business, and there's an offer there, right? So, Hey, I'm going to feature, I'm going to tell the story of the local, it could be literally a 5-minute show. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes or an hour. But I'm going to feature the local dry cleaner, and we're going to talk about why he's so special. And by the way, it's buy one, get one free for the first 2 weeks in July, whatever it is.
Yep, love it.
So, anyhow, sorry, man.
Toby, as we'd say in Australia, it's a bloody good idea.
All right. Well, look, we have to start wrapping up. Oh, God, we're 55 minutes in. Okay, listen, I'm just going to jump right to the book recommendation. So the setup, I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book, Ray, should I go buy today?
Boy, I've got so many different books. I really love, Ogilvy on advertising. I think David wrote that in the 70s or something, but it's a fantastic book, Ogilvy on advertising. I really love it. I recommended some books to people the other day. Oh, The Miracle Morning, I think is.
Yeah.
Have you heard about The Miracle Morning? Have you read that?
I've had Hal on the show. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Okay, maybe that's where I heard about it. I love that book. That's I found that really, really inspiring. But as far as motivating goes, anything by Seth Godin, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love reading. Because I can skim it and get a lot of information really quick. I love fastcompany.com and I love inc.com as well. I can get a lot of great ideas from that. As a real estate agent, seriously, if you're not already, do yourself a favour, subscribe to inman.com because there is so much great content coming out of there, and it's got a real digital bent to it. And Toby, I'm sure that you're fully aware of what the guys at Inman are doing. It's fantastic. They're holding events, right across the country, and there's always something going on, and there's always something new. Yeah,
it's funny. Is we cut a distribution deal with them. So they will, these shows like this one here, anytime I can record a show, and if I do a write up, they want 800 words. Of unique content, they will feature it. And guess what? You know what? I'm so busy, I've not done it.
Yeah.
We did at one point, Ray, have a deal with Realtor.com, and it was crazy, dude. We'd throw out an episode on there, and we would get like 30,000 hits, like boom.
Whoa.
It was crazy.
Whoa.
And you know what? Realtors. Not all of them. Some of them are such babies. So we did this post, and it was like how to do $50 million with zero in marketing, and it was like just a teasy headline. Like 3 people threw a fit. I even got some emails. They're like, my business blows. Like you can't do it with no money and blah, blah, blah. And they complained to me. They complained to Realtor.com and they pulled our deal. They pulled it. So anyhow, well, look, everybody, follow, if you want to read Ogilvy on Advertising by David Ogilvy, if you want to read any Seth Godin books, if you want to read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and by the way, Hal just did a new book with my buddy Michael Mayer specifically for real estate agents. So get a copy on us. Just use our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive. Go get a free copy. And if you subscribe, look, the show gets, we get like $15 for everybody who does it. So, support the show.
Do it.
Hey, man, look, Ray, if you listen, as you know, I always encourage my audience, if they've gotten anything out of this episode, reach out to you and say thank you. So I know you have a bunch of sites. Where's the best one, or what's the best way for people to find you?
The best way to find me is to go to topagentsplaybook.com. You can check out all my podcasts, send me a message. You can download the Top Agents Playbook ebook that I've put there. And on that, in that book, I've included the essential 17 actions, habits, and strategies used by real estate's best performers. So, jump in, check it out. I'd love to send you my ebook. Send me a message, check out the content, and come and say hi.
Awesome. All right, buddy. Hey, man, I'll be the first one to kick it off. Thank you, Ray. It's been fun. I appreciate you coming on.
Awesome, Toby. I love your show. Congratulations, and thanks for having me, man.
Thanks, buddy. All right, let's talk soon.